Welcome to NinjaCast, a photography podcast powered by Studio Ninja, the world's highest rated business management app, built specifically for photographers. Listen and learn as the most successful photographers on the planet share their knowledge to help you transform every element of your photography business. Here's your host, Sally Shaw.
Hi guys, welcome to NinjaCast. Today we are joined by Andrew and Grace of Bottlebrush Films. I am super excited for this episode as these guys are the absolute gods when it comes to filmmaking. I can't wait for you to soak up all of their knowledge, so let's get going. Hello guys!
Hey!
Let me just
We're
unlock that.
working our camera out.
Anyone would think we know how to do video.
We should. Yeah.
Okay, like that.
We're in his parents' backyard in the country with a
I
bunch of
love
goats.
that.
Could be interesting. Hi, how are you? It's nice to meet you.
You too, it's so lovely to meet you. I'm super excited for this interview, so excited.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
so are we.
Good.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much
too.
for having us.
Yeah.
Excited.
Pleasure, I'm so excited. So I feel like I should just shut up really and just let you guys do your thing because I have never seen filmmakers like it, like absolutely blown away. I was straight on to Chris as soon as I saw your guys work and I was like, oh my God. So I'm super stoked that you guys are on the show today. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your history, what brought you to being videographers, kind of what you did before and then your journey so far?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you like answering this.
Oh, you go then.
No, you go.
I always answer this. You go.
Basically, how do we get into it? We just met at uni studying film. We did a film course together in the same class, and then we started hooking up. And then you started working for a wedding videography company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've even been to a wedding at that stage, and really liked it. And
Amazing.
I was getting paid to play with the camera, and that was pretty cool. So
just snowballed from there really. We kind of the typical story. We did a friend's wedding and then we kept doing more and then we did a shitty Facebook logo and there you go.
And now look at you guys.
Now look at us. We have a real logo. It's great.
For everyone that hasn't checked out these guys' website, the links will all be on the blog, but your branding to say that you guys just started, threw together a shitty logo and you've come such a long way.
Yeah, it's very different now. We had someone professionally do our branding, which hot tip makes a very big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. We're like 2 minutes in and we've already got like fire.
Yeah.
Love it. So obviously your films really stand out as being, I don't think anyone could ever look at your films and think that they were anyone else's. They're so unique, so bespoke to you guys. So how do you get to that point? If you've got any tips for our listeners as to how you can go from shooting a friend's wedding and, not really necessarily knowing exactly how you wanted it to look like to transform into what you do now?
Good question. I think we never really set out to even make this a career. I think that was probably the key to what we've done and how we've done it, is that we've just done it for our own purposes, if that makes sense, just to have fun with it. And we weren't really connected to the videography community when we started, which is a thing that I would highly recommend is, get connected to the community. But what I will say about that is don't necessarily try and copy everyone else's work. Just have some fun with it and experiment and do what brings you joy. I don't know, we always just, for me, from a filming perspective anyway, I'm always experimenting and trying new things, and that's what keeps you creatively engaged and motivated. I don't even know about the editing side of things.
Is that all you?
That's all me. Yeah, so Andrew does all the filming and I do all the editing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And how do you find that partnership works? So do you go to weddings, or do you just go on your own and then you pass them over?
Yeah, he just goes on his own. I don't really shoot weddings. I don't love the videography side of things. Doesn't interest me as much, whereas Andrew loves it. So I definitely love storytelling and lean towards all the editing. So it's a good little team. We live in each other's pockets. It's a lot, but
yeah, but a total dream team going on now, definitely. So
I think Grace just loves to be able to do things so meticulously, and whereas I overthink things, and so because on a wedding day you've only got one chance to get it right, that works really well for me, and I get instant gratification, whereas
that would stress me out.
Grace is so meticulous.
I feel like, get me a beer, I can't handle this pressure.
So obviously there's photographers or videographers perhaps listening that have never even thought of stepping into film before, but it's something that they're looking to do. You guys will know that, you know, if you started out on doing courses and then you just kind of stepped into a wedding as a friend, it can quite quickly snowball for you, can't it? So for people that aren't lucky enough to perhaps be offered a wedding or be offered that chance, how would you say that they can get into filmmaking?
I think just run with it. Don't overthink it. Just go for it. And the beauty of weddings is that, unlike most things in film, you sort of get full creative control, which when you really think about it, that's very rare. Like music videos, we've just been through our first music video ourselves, and that's been an eye-opening experience in terms of how lucky we are in wedding world to have full creative control and with music videos, for example, you've got so many voices and opinions, and you don't get to be that auteur, but with weddings you do. You get to suit yourself.
Get to be your own boss, so you get to make the final cut on the, you know, call on the cut and things like that, which is such a luxury. And you've also got like clients, like couples who don't necessarily know much about film, so they're not looking to have heaps of input. So I guess like you really get a lot of creative control.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about this music video then. I can imagine that was a very, very different experience from start to finish than shooting weddings.
Yeah, it was completely different, but it was really cool because, like, you know, with weddings we don't really have to do pre-production. Do you know what I mean? Short of kind of meeting the couple, and it's all very documentary style. Whereas like I directed for the first time. It was really fun, and I got to like do a shot list and pre-production and, you know, treatment and all that. It was a cool process.
Yeah, but it's kind of highlights like. When you do something for so long, you take for granted the good things about it, and it highlights how.
I think I was taking weddings for granted. I'm like, I need to do something new. Let's get out of weddings for a little bit. And the music video was awesome, but I'm also like, okay, we're lucky with weddings too. Like we get a lot of control, and we can really just do whatever we want. Yeah,
we get to work with such great people that trust us so deeply to let us do whatever we want. And really, it's a good reminder that that's kind of a huge deal as well, because you do it for long enough and I don't know, you can't help but take it for granted a little bit. You're still aware of it, but it is nice to be reminded like how big a deal that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to the stress that you were saying sometimes with weddings, did you feel that tenfold trying to do a music video, or was that like a totally different environment?
It was way more stressful than a wedding will ever be, I think. Yeah, it was a lot, like, because you're not just dealing with like the artist, and the artist was awesome. Like she was phenomenal, and so awesome to collaborate with. But like the label have a lot of input, and so you're talking to a lot of people who are kind of, you know, that they're the boss, and then they've got bosses, and there's a lot kind of coming down the chain, and you're at the bottom of it. So it's a bit of a shitstorm sometimes, but it's also a good experience, just learning how to deal with people and kind of navigate that world. So I think it's been like a huge month. I've learned a lot.
Yeah, it's a great challenge.
It's nice to do something new again.
And I think it's important to keep getting outside of your comfort zone, because
that's kind of why we did it.
Yeah,
we don't want to get too like I don't know, comfortable with weddings. Really, we want to keep trying to push ourselves a bit, and it's so easy to get kind of repetitive in what you do. So
we genuinely love what we're doing. I've done a lot of other jobs before this that I didn't love, and I finally found something that I do love, and I don't ever want to let that go. You don't ever want to become stagnant or take it for granted or get disillusioned with what you do. I think that's easy. Creative burnout is like it happens to a lot of people in this industry, and that's something that we're actively like thinking about and trying to avoid.
Absolutely. So just that stepping away into something new and exciting and something you'd never done before has made you kind of take that appreciation back for weddings and think, do you know what, I love what I do even more now.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And do you feel like you learned anything on the music side of things that you'll take into a wedding?
I almost feel like it was reversed. I felt like the music video was like particularly like when it came to the edit and even just doing the shot list, it was almost easy, because I feel like the way we edit with weddings, it's so like music heavy, like it's kind of like our style. We almost make little mini music videos, I like to think. That sound kind of wanky, but
I was literally about 6-7 o'clock yesterday evening, I was just flicking through your guys' website, and my husband came in, and we got married last year in
Congrats.
a year and a half ago now, so 2019 in December. And he came in and he was like, why didn't we have these guys as our videographers? Like, because they're not in this country.
That wouldn't stop us.
We sat and watched about 4 of your films last night, and he just kept going,
wow.
I feel like I'm watching something made by like Michael Bay or one of the big movie producers.
Man, that's gonna blow our heads up.
He loved it.
No, there are not enough guns in our wedding videos for Michael Bay. Not at all.
Maybe that's
not enough explosions.
Yeah. No, it made the music video easier. Just like over years of doing wedding videos, like little, music all the time, kind of hunting for our own tracks, and then being given one before the actual shoot. And you can tailor it to it, which we don't usually do with weddings. Like we'll shoot it and then find a song after. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of parallels between making a music video and making a wedding video.
Yeah. Did you find that was harder or easier to have your track given to you and say, this is what you need to make something to?
Oh, like a bit of both. Almost like easier, harder because of all the prep you have to do because you're conscious of the song beforehand, but then easier because you're given a better product at the end because it's just so finessed. And when you get to the edit, you've already kind of planned the shoot, so you're not so much just, documentary style like weddings. You're kind of just making the story up as you go. Whereas with the music video, the story's already done. So when you get to the edit, you're really just piecing together based off your shot list, which is a nice change.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like I say, Grace is meticulous. So every shoot that we did, she knew exactly where it was going already because she knew the song inside and out.
Yeah.
And I think your understanding of music is a big reason why. Grace is musical herself. She plays guitar and piano, and
I pay him to say nice things about me when we have these talks. Yes.
I can imagine that's a big help though, and I guess perhaps quite a heavy factor in why your guys' work is quite music heavy and music orientated, and you do kind of get lost in the song a little bit when you see these frames flashing in front of you and it's all perfectly timed to the beat of the song. It is very much kind of all built around that, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just feel like as well, like you might see some films where like the chorus is dropped or something kind of interesting's happened in the music, almost like a sound effect, and people almost ignore it and I just keep kind of cruising. I'm like, no, have to cut there, like make it really like the music's not background noise for us, although some people's style it is background noise, which is fine, like it's more of just like a sub track to what's happening, but I think ours is kind of equal speech and music kind of thing.
So you guys have shot some insane weddings. I've seen that for myself. Is there one that really stands out to you that you think, I don't think we'll ever shoot anything like it again? Or is there one that at the time you just thought, this is our life?
I think that's happened like every time we do an awesome wedding. I'm like, we're never going to do something this cool again. And then
he's so nice. He's so invested in every wedding we do.
We're really lucky. We get to work with some really cool people. I think I'm someone that really likes meeting new people, so that's one of my favorite parts of the process.
Yeah, I'd say we did one. 2 girls, Gabby and Kate. It was like an elopement.
Yeah.
Is this the bonfire wedding?
Yes, it was a bonfire wedding, and they eloped, and it was just insanely cool. We had the wedding ceremony at night by bonfire, and we actually did a little bit of pre-production for that, which is because it's an elopement, we could get away with it. We kind of sorted out some lighting and scenarios, and it was really cool.
Amazing.
That was probably.
I always said to Grace that if we ever get married, I wanted to do it in front of a bonfire at midnight. But then, eventually, I was like, actually, that'd be fun to film.
We'd rather shoot that, yeah.
So we suggested it to those 2 girls, and they were really keen. And
so that was your suggestion to the girls rather than them saying, this is what we want our wedding ceremony to be?
Yeah. That one we approached it a fair bit differently because it was an elopement and they were sort of up for anything. So we said, how do you feel about showering together in the morning and letting us film it? How do you feel about getting married in front of a bonfire? And they were just keen on anything.
Yeah, they were like, amazing.
Yeah.
That must be incredible. And is there any part of you that thought, oh my God, I've got to try and shoot a ceremony in pitch black, only lit by the bonfire? Most videographers would go, no, thank you.
And we're like, let's do it. You were still stressed because what happened?
Yeah, the bonfire was lit a bit earlier than I wanted it to be. But yeah, it wasn't easy. But like I think that's a good thing. You got to get, like I said before, you got to get outside your comfort zone. And if you worry about everything being perfect, you probably won't create anything. So, you know, it's a nice challenge to keep pushing yourself and seeing what else is possible. I actually want to, the next elopement that we get, or a couple that comes along and says they're up for anything, I want to try and, I don't even know if it's possible, but there's a art installation in Melbourne at the moment called the Rain Room. And I'd love to do a ceremony inside the Rain Room. It's literally just an indoor location with rain coming down, and it's got sensors. So wherever you're standing, it doesn't rain. So you're surrounded by all this water coming down, and I reckon a ceremony in there. I don't know if it's possible.
He's pitching to the wide world. Right?
Yeah, but if anyone's keen on that, let us know. Because I will shoot the shit out of that.
I can't guarantee that you won't get rained on, but you can just come to the UK and shoot a wedding like that. There'll just be rain everywhere.
That might just be easier, yeah. 100%.
So in terms of equipment, because I'm sure that so many videographers, photographers, general people out there will look at your work and just think they must have some magic or some mental equipment. Walk us through what you take to a typical wedding, what you use as your go-to to create what you create.
Yeah, so usually I take 2 or 3 cameras. I don't obviously use them all at the same time because it's just me. But yeah, I've got a gimbal just for variety. I've got a camera that I use for time lapses on a timer. We've got monopods, we've got tripods.
We just bought the Sony A7S III.
Yeah.
Upgraded to that.
That's great with low light. For me, it's the perfect wedding filmmaker's camera for a number of reasons. The in-body stabilization. These chicken arms can't really hold too much. So it's a nice and light camera, which is good.
It's nice.
And yeah, the autofocus on it is actually usable. So that's going to be a game changer for wedding filmmakers with especially gimbal work. I can't wait to try and experiment with a few things with that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's really, I love and hate the question about gear, because honestly, it doesn't matter what camera you use. It doesn't matter what lenses you use, so long as what you're capturing is good. I mean, if people look at a shot of ours and go, oh, that was shot on a 50mm instead of a 35, or a cheap plastic lens instead of a really expensive nice lens, then my philosophy is that you've got bigger problems than the lens you use, because obviously the frame that they're looking at mustn't be that interesting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
it might be an unpopular answer, but
no, not at all. So that was kind of where I was hoping you were going to aim, to be honest. So essentially, you know, the best equipment that you can get is the equipment that you have in front of you, and the stuff that you've already got with you. So what is it that you look for, or do you have certain techniques that you use during a wedding that doesn't necessarily put the focus on your equipment, but actually what you're achieving?
Yeah. Oh, well, from a filming perspective, like I used to argue with Grace when we first started, because we've got friends that do this as well. And the way that she edits, I was like, oh, can you just use my best shots? And she'd be like, nah, that doesn't mean anything. They might look nice, but they don't actually mean anything. They're not important to the couple. And
they don't add to the story kind of vibe, like they're not usable where I want to use them, or whatever the hell it is kind of thing.
And I used to get really mad because I was like, you're making me look shit using all my shit shots. But she's right. Like, and I've sort of learned now out of that and thinking about that to sort of shoot for moments. And even if they're not technically perfect, like that's what makes people feel. That's the stuff that people are going to remember. Like, even if it's not technical, I think we get too wrapped up in our own egos sometimes, and like showing off the technically perfect stuff. And I'm not a technically perfect shooter, but I think my strength is anticipating moments and capturing those. And that's one of the fun things about weddings for me, is like being in the right spot at the right time and getting those little moments. And it might not even be a moment involving the couple, but you know that later on down the track when they're watching all that back, that they're going to see that, and that's going to mean a hell of a lot to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's undervalued, is the moments rather than the beautiful frames.
Mm-hmm. And do you find that you tend to shoot more so for those moments now? Is that what you're saying there? Is that you'll look at the moment rather than look at a frame as a whole? You'll kind of you know, let's say, I don't know, a marquee wedding in the middle of these beautiful hills, you know, you've got such a beautiful frame around you, but you're looking for the interaction or the emotion that's going on with the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the stuff that we use in the edit a bit more anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think, yeah, if we were to get married, I would kind of care more about what my friends and family are doing and that kind of interaction rather than how pretty the location was. That stuff naturally comes in anyway. Like as you shoot, it's gonna kind of be in your frame at some stage. So it comes down to your style. Like we like to make it a bit more kind of raw, a bit more like rock and roll or whatever you want to call it. Whereas some people really love cinematic style, and that's cool too.
That's fine. Yeah, there's a different type of wedding filmmaking for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you guys have got a bit of the A-team going because, you know, there's a lot of photographers or videographers out there that they'll think, you know, they'll shoot the wedding, they'll edit the wedding themselves, they'll put it out there to the couple are dead happy, but they want someone to critique it and they want someone to help them. And that's what Grace is there for you, isn't it? You know, you do all the shooting and then she goes, well, this works really well here and this works really well here. I really like that frame to go here. And I think like that you're so lucky to have that kind of, I don't know, back and forth between each other that it just works so well.
Yeah, I actually think like people who do it on their own, like hats off to you. Like if you shoot and edit, that's so much work. Like there's a reason why there's like, you know, of a feature film, there's, you know, there's the final cut that goes to cinema and then you've got like the director's cut, do you know what I mean? Which is usually longer and a bit more like luxurious for the director. Like the kind of, they can't let go of whatever footage. So I feel like it's good because I don't go to the wedding, so I see it all for what it is, like really fresh. I'm not attached to any part of it, so I haven't shot it. So you can you have to look at the whole thing and just use what's good rather than, oh no, that moment was really great though, I set that great shot up, and it's like, well, too bad.
Yeah, that definitely comes back to what we were just saying about whether you're editing for yourself or for the couple, and Grace definitely doesn't edit for my cinematography. She edits for the couple, which works, you know, that's a good thing. There's a reason that most directors don't edit their own films. They get too attached, and you wouldn't let a cinematographer edit a feature film. You know what I mean? There's a reason for that. So
for sure.
We are lucky in having this sort of this team.
Yeah.
And how do you find working together? Has it always been plain sailing?
Nah, God no. Shit. Now sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's bloody horrible. Like it's hard. Like, you know, we're a couple. I've been together for like, I don't know, 8 years. So I can't even remember. 10 years, whatever. You know, working in each other's pockets, and, you know, but it's kind of, I mean, it's good too. Like you can kind of bounce off each other. I feel like it'd be a really hard job to do alone. And
it's never always sunshine and rainbows, but that's okay. Like,
yeah. And it's nice knowing as well, because we're not just like, I mean, because we're a couple, it's like we have each other's backs as well. So it's kind of like, if something goes wrong at a wedding, it's like, well, it's all right, I'll fix it for you. And like, or vice versa. I don't know. It's good.
Yeah. I love that. That's perfect. So do you guys take inspiration from anyone? Is there anyone that as you were developing your film style that you were inspired by?
I don't really think so. I think we just did it for our own enjoyment. And I think that's been the key to finding our own style. Like I said earlier, we didn't really get caught up in watching anyone else's work. We just sort of, I guess we didn't even really know that there was anyone else out there doing it.
I almost feel like it's hard now for new cinematographers or, you know, people getting into filmmakers in general. Like, social media is so explosive now. Like, everything's in your face. So you want to be a wedding videographer, you know, you might find us and go, oh, fuck, I'm not going to be, like, as good as that. And it's like, well, you won't be. Like, it took us, like, 8 years to get here. But people now think it's going to happen overnight. And it's a lot for, like, your mental health. Like, we have mates in the industry who say that kind of stuff as well. And it's like, we were lucky because when we started, social media wasn't as big as it is now. So like we weren't living through other people's lives and watching their work and kind of, you know, beating ourselves up for not being that good. It's hard to take inspiration when you feel like you want to be there but you're not there yet. It can mess with your head. So I'd say don't watch anyone's work.
Yeah, we get people
just do your own thing and enjoy it.
We get people messaging us or disheartened and saying, you know, oh, I just don't think I'm ever going to be good at this or whatever it is. But like what they don't realise is their work at 1, 2 and year 3 is like infinitely better than what we were at. Like it's it's
that
just,
whole comparison is the thief of joy kind of quote, isn't it?
And it's easy to get sucked into, but I think you've just got to acknowledge, like, celebrate everyone else's wins and just go, okay, I'm on my own journey. You don't need to, you know, it's not a competition, and so long as your couples are happy, like that's what you should be finding joy in. And that's what we try and find joy in as well.
Yeah, I mean, our first film ever was not great,
No.
nowhere near what, I mean, cool in its own way because it was our first film, but like, my God, it's completely opposite to what we do now. And yeah, you got to start somewhere, don't you?
Everyone
Absolutely.
does.
Yeah, definitely. And do you feel like you've gone on a real journey with your style then, or did you feel that once you kind of got that, we're shooting for us, we're putting ourselves into our personalities, did you feel like your style kind of evolved quite quickly?
Yeah, I think it took a long time to find our style because, like, we were pretty new to film when we did start. I didn't know anything really about editing. And then I worked for an advertising agency for a while, and that really helped because we had, I was a junior editor, so I had a lot of creatives, and big brands basically just saying, this is shit, do better. Mm-hmm. And they'd really just like rip your edit apart. But it's kind of a good thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just to learn and figure out what your style is and what a good edit is and what a good cut is and stuff like that. So yeah, get feedback where you can. Like, I'd say show your films to people whenever you can. Just get some feedback,
I think try and do that from the start too, because I know me personally, I can be pretty precious about feedback. I think we all can as creatives.
It's hard.
So try and get into that habit nice and early if you can. If you're fortunate enough to be starting out now, like, make that part of your routine.
Yeah, for sure. It's part of it.
And don't be afraid to suck, because that's how you get better.
Absolutely. Everybody starts somewhere, like you said, Grace, for 100%.
Yeah.
So you guys are also educators. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Lonely Hearts Film Camp?
Sounds like such a wank. Educators.
We are educators.
Lonely Hearts Film Camp. We started that almost this time last year. It was February last year. And it was basically because there was nothing else out there for wedding filmmakers. There were so many awesome sort of workshops and getaways for wedding photographers, but nothing that we wanted to go to something like that for wedding filmmakers, and it didn't exist. So we thought,
in Australia, there's so many in the US, and we're like, why is there nothing in Australia? It's like, shit. Even
in the UK, I don't think there's anything sort of specific to wedding filmmaking, but so we just went, okay, let's create something like that. And
Andrew went, he's like, can we do a workshop? I'm like, maybe. And he's like, what about a 4-night 5-day film camp in the middle of the bush? And I'm like, what the hell? We haven't even done a day workshop before. We did it.
I like it. I like a project.
Yeah, we don't know how to do things in small bits. We just go like to the very extreme.
Yeah, but it was great. We had Matt Johnson from the USA. We had Remy from Maru Films in Amsterdam all come out to Sydney, and Nat from Auburn Hour, Mel from Till Death, the Humdrum Films boys from Melbourne. We invited, it wasn't just us, it was a bunch of our favourite filmmakers from Australia and around the world that we wanted to learn from as well. And it was a big community event. That was really important to us, that it was not just an ego trip, but about people sort of coming together. We called it Lonely Hearts for a reason, because it can be a lonely industry to be part of, especially if you're doing it solo.
I called it Lonely Hearts because of the Beatles, but that's insane. Yes, it was about community. No.
Grace is like, it's the music, Andrew. It's the music.
Yeah, but it was great. We had we even had a guy from New York come to attend.
Yeah, I think we sold about, how many tickets did we sell?
48.
Like 48 people came. It was so cool, and it's just like, we had like keynote talks and some breakout sessions and stuff.
Yeah, everyone lived together for 4.5 days, and
it was like summer camp, like school camp again. It was so cool.
We showed all of the speakers' first ever films because that's important to see where people come from. It's easy to go, oh, they're amazing and they've never produced shit work, but everyone's produced shit work.
Oh, and it was so hilarious. Everyone had like the same kind of like indie guitar music, and it was terrible. But I think it was actually really cool. We played it on the first night, everyone's first films, and I reckon it actually was really cool for everyone attending to see, because everyone kind of went, oh, all right, sweet, you guys were like that when you started.
Yeah,
but it was great.
From what I saw, it was like a massive party with people jumping in a lake.
Yeah, that's the other side. That's what I got excited about. I'm like, can we have it ending a night in that party and have like it themed? And it was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, all right, I'm in. We made it. What was the theme? It was Lost in Space. So everyone dressed up as aliens and weird shit, and it was a good blowout for the end of the camp. Grace
made a film about the rap party alone. It's on the website if anyone wants to check it out. Lonelyheartsfilmcamp.co. There's
plug.
Yeah. And Studio Ninja were good enough to be one of our sponsors, which is great. We really appreciate you guys taking your punts on us.
Always. We love you guys. We love getting involved in anything that you do. So if you guys could start your career all over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know.
Good question.
I almost say, hell yeah, there is. I would learn a lot more about finance.
Yes.
We definitely botched that in the beginning.
Yeah.
We paid for it years later, and we've only been coming good in the last few years. So get on top of that. Like, you know, you're not a videographer, you're a business owner kind of deal. You know, make sure you understand.
Yeah, just because you're good at the craft, it doesn't mean you're good at business and vice versa.
Yeah, because we all jump into this, like we're all creatives who, you know, the cliche is we're not great with, you know, numbers and math and science.
Absolutely.
You know, which we're not.
Yeah.
So it took us a while to get there, but
it's turning into something I quite enjoy, actually.
Yeah, now it's something we enjoy, which is nice.
Yeah, now you've got your heads around it and understand it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I always say for people in this industry, we're always so many other things. You know, we're counselors, we're accountants, we're editors, we're photographers, we're videographers, you know, we're graphic designers, we're website designers. There's all these things that you just think you have to do yourself.
Yeah. 100%. It just again, it piles up in the beginning, especially. In the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, this is fun, and then like a couple of years later, you're like, shit.
Yeah, I think letting go of imposter syndrome as soon as you can as well. You know, you can always improve, and you can always be a lot worse than you are. So,
I've got a mate who's like she's an incredible photographer. She's been going for years now, and she's like, I don't know, like I was kind of thinking about doing a workshop, but I don't think I'm good enough. And I'm like, no, man, just give it a go. Like, your stuff is good, and you know your work, and people are actually messaging you, asking you for it. And that's a bit. And I said to her, imposter syndrome. She's like, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
You know, just give it a crack.
That was one of the things I was most proud of after camp. Actually, so many people saw their self-worth and raised their prices, and
that was really cool. Like a shitload of people went and messaged us, said, hey, after that talk we've all raised our prices, and you know, couples aren't batting an eye at it. I'm like, that's awesome.
And that helps with their work-life balance and their longevity in doing what they do and like servicing their customers, and I think that's, you know, always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a quick point there on pricing, as you guys have mentioned it. Do you have any advice for anyone that is coming into the industry that's looking to place themselves in the market, that's looking to try and work out their pricing? What do you say to photographers or videographers that come in and say, okay, this is what I want to do, but I have no idea how much to charge?
Yeah, I just think a bit of forward planning helps. Like, I think the first thing you need to work out is how many weddings a year is your ideal, and then work out your pricing from there about sort of how much money do you want to make a year. And it's
that's the important one. I'm like, don't look at it as, oh, how much should I charge for a wedding? I'm like, no, look at like your entire year. What do you want to earn for a year? And then, okay, what are you going to price your weddings? How many do you need to get there? Like, just break it down simply. Like, we didn't do that in the beginning. We just started shooting. We picked a random number, which was a terrible idea. So, you know, just run it like a business, basically.
Yeah.
Forget that,
absolutely. And if you guys could add one final piece of advice, maybe something that's made a big difference to your business or your personal life that you've learned over the years, what would that one piece of advice be? You can do one each if you like.
Oh, shit, I don't know. I'd say, oh my God, it's really raining here.
Sorry.
I feel like we've seen all the seasons on this one.
This is Victoria. This is what happens. I would say like really network hard, like really build yourself like a little community. Like, I think that's
hard doing it on your own.
It's hard doing it on your own. Like, we're lucky to have each other, but also like we're lucky to be like in a really cool crew of creatives in Melbourne who all do wedding photography and videography, and that makes such a difference. Like, once you've got a good community around you, like they refer you, they help you out when you're sick, like all sorts, you know, cover you when you need it. So definitely.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Invest in yourself, not just equipment. Like your business skills, your marketing skills, your creative skills, all that sort of stuff is really important. Yeah. Especially for longevity. It's no secret that a lot of people in this industry get in, they burn bright, and they burn out pretty quickly, which is a real shame. Yeah. And that's because they either take on too much work at a too low a price point, and just burn out. Like, that's not sustainable. We nearly got there ourselves. We did 101 weddings in 2 years at our peak, which was
hard.
It was hard. and it's easy to lose your passion for it if you overdo it like that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I know with like the world situation at the moment, we're pretty still heavy in it over here in the UK, but it has made me so thankful for weddings. And so like, I just want to get back and shoot them. So last year, I think I postponed like 43 weddings into this year, and I only shot 2 last year. And then all those weddings from this year are starting to trickle in and postpone to now the year after. And I'm just like, I just want to shoot a wedding. Like I miss them.
Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in Australia right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So if our listeners want to find out more about you guys, they want to get in touch, they want to come pick your brains, they want to head over and come over to Australia and go to the Lonely Hearts Film Camp, how do they do all of those things?
Like just website, just bottlebrushfilms.com.au, or on Instagram, it's just Bottlebrush Films. We're also on TikTok.
I'm so going to follow you guys after this.
So there's some weird shit on there, so enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And
what are you on TikTok?
We're just Bottlebrush Films.
On it.
Same thing on basically all our platforms. Yeah.
Amazing.
And Lonely Hearts Film Camp is from the 26th to the 30th September this year. So hopefully international flights have opened, because we've had a bunch of people. It's raining hard.
Oh my goodness.
Camps in September, so hopefully, I don't know if borders will be open by then, but
fingers crossed.
Otherwise 2022.
Absolutely, it will happen one way or another. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and chatting with me today.
Right.
I loved every single second, and I know our listeners will have done as well. I'm going to let you guys go so that you don't get rained on anymore, but thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
See ya. Have a good one.
Okay guys, that's everything from me today. Thank you so much to Andrew and Grace for joining us. What an episode that was, rain and all. So if you would like to check out the show notes, you can head to www.studioninja.co/episode 20. Please don't forget to rate us on the podcast that you're listening on. A little bit of love goes a very long way. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of NinjaCast, brought to you by Studio Ninja. Beautifully designed and super easy to use, Studio Ninja will help you manage your leads, clients, shoots, invoices, contracts, workflows, and so much more. To learn more or start your 30-day free trial, go to www.studioninja.co.